Welcome everyone to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives on how to approach a career in the field from different artists, producers, engineers, and other great minds who share their stories on not only what's made them succeed, but also what has shaped them into the people that they are today. I hope you gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you in your endeavors on your own journey towards success as well. Let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 137 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today, I welcomed an artist from Yonkers, New York. His name is Kadeem Anthony, also known as Deem Dotta. I actually found his music back in November and just reached out to him about being on the podcast. I was finally happy to have our first real conversation this week. We just talked about, him coming up out of New York, really just taking it seriously the last 4 or 5 years, putting out different music under both of his names. And he talked about, kind of the difference between the two names that he has, how they contrast in different styles, mostly melodic R&B and some hip-hop as well. He talked about his plans moving forward, as well as working on a brand new project that should be coming out here in 2023 very soon, doing different live shows in the New York area, and what his dream tour would look like, and really just his goals for the future as well, and also who has he been working with on his new project and in the past, just having some definitely close collaborators that are helping him kind of craft his vision and what he's looking to do. So I think it's all great stuff he's working on, and everything he's done so far I've just been impressed with, and that's really one of the reasons I reached out to him, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting with him very soon. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and without further ado, let's get into it. So welcome everyone to episode 137 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series, and today we have another great artist out of New York. I actually just came across this guy's music probably about a month ago now. Kadeem Anthony is here, aka Deem Dotta. How are you, man?
I'm good. How's everybody doing? What's going on?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm sure the listeners are doing great as well. But man, like I said, thank you again for reaching back out, for agreeing to do this. I'm very excited to have you here. And basically, to start off every episode, we have the guest kind of give some background. How did you get into music? How long have you been doing it? Just some basic information for those that might not know you and what you do.
Basically with me, with the music thing, I kind of got into it during high school. I really didn't take it as serious as I wanted to. I was really just focused on just trying to be a teenager at that time. I'm from Yonkers, so Yonkers is very small. We're in Westchester, New York, so next to the Bronx. So once I did a lot of shows, I did a lot of studio sessions, stuff like that. I started getting my name up. And then boom, I started taking it more serious into my 20s. After college, I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Music is definitely my plan A, but I definitely have a plan B. I wish everybody thought like that. Yeah. Because you need some money to fund do your whole thing, yep. But to fund it, mm-hmm. Exactly. So I've been doing it seriously for a good 5 years. Taking it serious. All right, I'm putting my money into this. I'm going to buy equipment, what I'm saying, and get to it.
Yeah, man. And it's good. It's good to be proactive on it, because I think a lot of artists kind of, even if they want to be an artist, they kind of just wait around for that opportunity. I've always found that the people that are the most proactive, like you just said, you went and invested in yourself, got the equipment, did all that stuff, and you've just been going and not really waiting around for that opportunity. So it's and I think we're in that era too, where a lot of people don't realize that they can do that, record themselves, or even have their buddy just record them on a laptop and just start making songs, putting songs out there. So that's great to hear as well. And so you're probably, I'm just going to guess, you're probably mid-20s then, right? Somewhere in there. So you're probably, so you're probably, nice, man. Nice, man. I'm 25, so I started 6.5 years ago. So it's kind of similar stuff. So that's awesome, man. It's great to see, you're doing your thing and everything. And I was curious about the names, because obviously you have Kadeem Anthony, and then you have Deem Dotta. So is there a difference between the two? Are you kind of trying to go with one as far as how you're going to be releasing music moving forward? Or I was kind of curious about that.
Basically, the Kadeem Anthony is really like my first and middle name, so I wanted to go more of a natural thing. The Deem Dotta thing was really more of my high school, my kid era, basically. But I want to mesh them together because I do have more of a melodic side with the Kadeem Anthony thing, and then the Deem Dotta is me more of the raw, the rugged, the rapper. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to like mesh them together. So honestly, moving forward, it's definitely going to be more Kadeem Anthony. I just want to find a way to keep the Deem Dotta alive as well because I'm known for that as well. So I don't want to just let that die out.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of cool, but I was like, I wonder if he's leaning more toward one over the other. Because I had seen even Deem Dotta, like you just put out a song in November as well under that name. So I was like, so they're probably just still kind of active. But yeah, it's definitely interesting because I know a lot of artists too, they start out under a certain name and then they usually end up changing it to something else sometimes and just kind of shifting. But I like how it's kind of like you said, it's like the different sounds as well. So it's almost like two different personalities, but you kind of want to bring them together in a way too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's great to hear, man, and that's pretty unique, I'd say. So as far as like what you've been doing recently, as far as like recording, maybe even songwriting, let's just say because we're heading into a new year at this point. So how's that process been lately, as far as finding inspiration to write new songs? Like, what have you been doing? Just kind of just being in the studio, listening to beats and things like that, and writing to them, or you're just going out and kind of bringing inspiration back to create from?
Really, pretty much is a little bit of both. I'm really just going out, just trying to enjoy life, just trying to figure out like what I really want to do with the music as well. The topics I want to give people, more of the raw me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a gimmick. I don't want to be just a trend. Because a lot of people are making like microwavable music, like you're just putting it out there. All right, you're gonna be popping for like 3 months and then you're gone. I want timeless classic music, so I'm definitely just taking my time with certain things. I'm getting everything custom made. Basically, I'm not just ripping and running from YouTube and just saying, "Hey, I got a beat," because a million other people can have that beat.
Yeah, exactly.
I want something that no one can have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's good to have that vision too as well for something more unique and something more your style. And I appreciate that as well. You're trying to carve out your own lane as an artist. So I commend you for that as well. And that kind of leads me to one of my next questions, which was, who are you working with primarily, like in the local area, let's say in New York as well, even beyond, like who's helping you kind of, get that vision out there if it is more unique and you're trying to, make a sound here?
Right now, really, like, my sound is really getting made by this guy named Savage Genius. You can definitely find him on Instagram and stuff like that. He's totally dope. He works with me one-on-one, so it's easier for me to actually get a feel of what I want to do. If something's not right, he'll let me know it's not right, not just a guy that just clicking a button. So he's actually on my tape too that I'm going to be releasing sometime next year. I just want to get everything together, and we're actually just sitting down and just putting it together, basically,
Yeah. And it's always good to have someone there, I think, that is kind of in your corner in a way, and they're giving you that feedback as well, and like constructive criticism. Because obviously there's I don't know how to say it, but there's good constructive criticism, and then there's like kind of just people that they might not like be in your best interest, but if they're in your best interest, it's like that's great to have, and you can just craft it together and really get that different perspective, and the music just comes out better, in my opinion.
Exactly.
When it's like that. So that's definitely something that is super vital to have, and it's good to hear that that's kind of the situation for you now. Is there like a certain session that you've been in maybe recently or even the past couple of years that like kind of sticks out to you as far as like you remember kind of just the energy of the song you were making, or just maybe even just a song you've done before that like the story of it kind of sticks out?
Honestly, it was actually my last release, So Alive. I actually went back to the studio like 3 times just to remake the song and just try to get the beats right and get the words correct. The melody, it just felt right. We remixed a classic too. So it was I believe her name was Anita something, I forgot her name. Alicia Wright, I believe, or Alicia Myers. I Want to Thank You. So we kind of like remixed the old school classic, and it just felt right. It just felt so right when I was in the studio. I jumped up and down, I'm singing it back and forth. My girl's in the background singing it too. So it was a good feeling knowing that, all right, I'm doing something that feels like me.
Yeah.
Not just like everything is outside, like everything that's drill music. Don't get me wrong, I like the drill stuff, but something that's different. And
you're like in the heart of the drill scene kind of out there in New York from what I've heard. So I definitely see that. But yeah, like you said, it's good to kind of just continue to do your own thing as well and have that. Is that I think that's the single that has like it's almost like retro looking artwork too, like the font style that kind of caught my eye. It looked like 70s type of like font from the artwork too. So
that was the whole initial point. I wanted to keep it more of an old school feel. It's a good feeling. It's a comforting feeling. So it's like I wanted to capture you more instead of it being grunge and grimy.
Yeah, creates like the like happier tone a little bit. So
exactly.
I like that a lot. So I see like the setup behind you as well. So like obviously I know you're probably doing home recording. Is there like a preference as far as going to the studio or just being at home, or it really doesn't matter as long as you can catch a good energy, you're gonna lay down like a good session that day?
I feel it's really the energy, because I could wake up and be like, oh, let me get on Pro Tools and start rapping, but I feel it's better when I'm in the studio because I can work with the person that's actually making the beat. I can tell them what I don't want, what I do want, how I want it to sound, what I want to add. Here, when I'm at home, I can pretty much recreate it, but I'm not too good with the beats. So that's the only thing I'm kind of just working on too, like creating my own stuff. I like samples. I like, I'm really more of a sample guy. I like the samples.
Flipping,
so I want to work more with
doing some old school stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely flipping old school stuff. Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever like if you started like producing more and more, would you ever do like start working with other people as well, like other artists? Like if they approached you and they were like, "Hey man, could you whip up like some beats for me? I might like have you work on my project." Would you ever do that, you think?
Of course. I definitely would.
Yeah.
I like to work with other people because working alone is cool, but everybody needs somebody, I guess. So you definitely need someone behind you too. So I'm okay with working with other people.
I always love, because I've interviewed different artists that are producers as well, and I talk about like the balance with them, because I'm not an artist, like I'm not that talented to be an artist, so I'm just like I'm a producer. But I can imagine if you're like an artist and a producer, I'd say it helps you to be a better artist because you can craft it from the ground up, and then you can lay the lyrics on top. But even when you're working with other artists, I feel like you'd be able to understand their language a little bit, as far as like they want to come in at this part, they want like a hook here, maybe they want like a little bridge. So like you could honestly be like a double threat almost in that way, where you can kind of just do both. So I think like if you just do that and keep like sticking with it, you don't know, like that could be a new like lane or avenue for you like in the future. So definitely.
That's definitely my goal for sure.
Very, very exciting stuff. So are you leaning more towards right now like the R&B side, or more of like the hip hop stuff? Because I know you do a little bit of both. You kind of have a little bit of a fusion in the styles as well. So are you kind of just leaning toward one or the other, or you're just kind of just making whatever feels right?
Yeah, whatever feels right at this point. I just want to have fun with it. Yeah. Honestly, I don't want to put a title on it. I don't want to put a genre on it. I just want to have fun. Like, whatever feels right at that time, I'm letting it out.
I was gonna say you can't really overthink it either. You know what I mean? You kind of just gotta make it, and even like letting people decide like what it is. You know what I mean? Because obviously there's so many different styles nowadays and artists and doing unique things. So it's like trying to get boxed into one thing or the other. It's like you just gotta do you and let it go. So that's definitely super important as well. Just wanted to take a quick minute out of this episode to let you know about our current sponsor, SessionWire. If you've ever used Zoom before, then you'll be right at home with SessionWire. They allow you to connect face-to-face with anyone, anywhere by sending them a single link to your very own personal SessionWire Studio. SessionWire Studio is a virtual control room that combines many familiar tools like video, voice, file transfer, chat, and storage. And it also allows an industry-first separate HQ audio channel for listening to and recording with studio quality sound. And I'm very excited to, be on board with SessionWire and have them, sponsor the podcast for the next few months. We'll also be giving away 3 versions of their brand new V3 software in April, which I'm very excited about as well. So be on the lookout for that. But if you want to, know more about SessionWire now and you want to get started today, go to sessionwire.com. And with their VIP early bird pre-launch offer, you'll be able to get SessionWire's artist plan for only $99, plus a free year of the all-new SessionWire Studio when it officially launches if you use the pre-purchase code Proven Knowledge 22. That's Proven Knowledge 22. Once again, very excited to have SessionWire on board, and stay tuned for the giveaway. But for now, let's get back into the episode. So how important has social media, let's say Instagram, I would assume you have Twitter, things like that, even YouTube, how important have those been to your growth as an artist, just getting new followers, fans, things like that, and kind of just growing what you're doing?
I mean, it's been pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, over the couple of years, the algorithm hasn't been as good as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's I'm getting used to it. Actually, I'm getting way more used to posting more content, the videos,
mm-hmm.
getting in front of a camera, because I'm really more of a laid back guy. I'm really in the background, but me being able to make content, it's actually fun, to be honest.
Yeah. I always say you kind of have to find the fun in it, because I think at first it kind of intimidates people, especially artists, because like you just said, we want to play the background. We kind of just want to let our art speak and just that be done and just kind of lay back and let it all go. But it's it's almost like that necessary evil, you know what I mean? You kind of got to put yourself out there a little bit just to let people know, you're creating this great music, you want people to hear it, things like that. So yeah, you definitely just got to find unique ways to do it, and there's different formats now as well. How do you feel about TikTok? Because I'll admit it, I dove in a little bit this year to TikTok, started getting more consistent, and I was it's okay, but I still don't I'm not doing challenges, I'm not doing dances, not doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm doing more informative content myself. But how do you view things like that as well?
The same way as I view Instagram. Honestly, I feel the more content you put out there, somebody's gonna grab it.
Yeah.
For example, I did a Jersey beat kind of song. I kind of created a little dance. I tried to do the dance. I was just doing it just to see where it would go, and moved a little bit. But it's really all about your content, because I learned that if you put one video up, you're gonna need 2 more, then 3 more. So it's really just keeping their attention.
Mm-hmm.
And TikTok, it's only 60 seconds, I believe.
Yeah. 60
seconds to 3 minutes. So
yeah,
it's really more of the attention thing.
Yeah, it's really we're kind of in that age of the short form content where it used to be longer YouTube videos and things like that, which is still a thing. Obviously, YouTube is probably never going away. That's always been a big thing, and that was first anyway. But TikTok kind of showed people you could do like you said, 15, 30, 60-second videos and just make them blow up and things like that.
Yep.
I definitely think there's trends and things like that. Just being unique as well, and finding your voice on there. I think there's an audience for everybody, honestly, because there's just so many people out there. So it's just finding, like you said, just finding your audience and who's gonna enjoy what you have to say, because there's always someone out there that's gonna resonate with whatever you're putting out. So, and it's the same as for music as well. It's we put out all kinds of music. There's going to be someone that hears it and they vibe with what you're saying, and they can appreciate the storytelling and all that good stuff. So I definitely think it's kind of parallel with being a music maker as well, and people kind of just have to view it like that when they're making content, and especially if it's trying to support their artistry and things of that nature. So that's definitely great. So you mentioned you're working on the next project, which by the time this episode drops, it's going to be 2023. It's going to be January. So do you have a title or anything that can be revealed? Do you have some type of tentative date in mind? What can you reveal to us on the show? What can we expect from it?
I honestly want to drop it around my birthday, around April-ish.
Springtime?
Summertime, it's spring, summer.
Yep.
I don't really have a title for it yet. I still want to, I just want to get more of a feeling of what I'm doing for the album. So I just wanted to I want it to be compact.
Yeah.
So
here's
hopefully my birthday.
Here's a good question. For let's just say you as a listener, when you think of an album, like how many tracks is that? Is that like 10, 12, maybe more? Like what is a good length album to you?
I say 12 to 15 to be honest, because it gives you a good amount of songs where it's like, all right, I like this one, but I like this one better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna replay this one. I'm gonna get back to this. I want people to pick what they like and what they don't like. So it's more of I want to pick out who my super fans are, who my regular fans are, and stuff like that. Who really rocks with this type of music? I just want to give them a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You know.
That to me is the sweet spot, is like that 12 to 15. That's like the perfect amount. I think when it's like 17 up in the 20s, I'm like, okay, I can't really do that. At least as a listener, I'm just like, I start skimming at that point. But it's weird because like a lot of the albums this year that I was a fan of, they're like 10 songs, and I was like, 10, that's kind of weird. But I felt that it left me wanting more, because the album would be over, and I'm like, oh, like if there was only like a couple more songs in there, that would have been great. But it's like, I think it's really comes down to like the story you're trying to tell as well, because even I think we saw like a takeoff of EPs as well in the past like 5 or 6 years. Like EPs have become a big thing because they're kind of the middle ground between the single and the album. So you can still kind of tell a bit of a story, but it doesn't have to be as long. So I think it's really just like the story that you're trying to tell and like what you're trying to convey to the listeners, I guess, is kind of how you would approach it. But I agree with you. I think like 12 to 15, when I think of an album, like even like favorite albums of all time, it's just like they're in that range. So
that's facts.
And obviously like the streaming era, they've been saying like put out singles, put out this, but it's like I still think the album has a place. You know what I mean?
It definitely does. I honestly still feel like the hand-to-hand is still a thing too, even if it's a flash drive, because some cars don't have CD players.
Yeah.
So plug that into your USB. Hey, I got your album. It's easier because you're gonna take forever looking for a stream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Why not go sell that for like $10-$12 like they used to back in the day?
I even think of vinyls, like how vinyls have taken back off just because people love the physical, to be able to like touch the album and like look at the book and like open it up, and just for that, they might not even have a vinyl player, but they just like to have it and like actually own the piece of music, which is a lot different from like, oh, I pre-saved it on Spotify and that's it. It's like they want kind of that.
Whenever it drops, it drops.
Exactly. And I think people want like a little bit of an experience with it too, with the music and stuff like that. Have you ever thought of like anything, maybe not like something that is immediately going to happen, but have you ever thought about that, like when you're putting out music, like what experiences you could create that are kind of like unique for like your listeners in some way, like even if it's like a listening party or like something like in person? Like, have you ever thought about things of that nature?
I'm actually in works right now trying to do a showcase now. So like, I have a couple artists that I want to put onto the showcase. I wanted to, perform most of the unreleased music, the stuff that's going to be on the tape and everything like that. So I'm in talks with some some event people right now. So I'm definitely looking into doing that as a listening party, stuff like that, a release party. So I'm definitely trying to get into that.
Nice.
I like shows. I like being in front of people. So I don't want to be on the internet all day.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. And I was gonna say, how many shows have you done before? Have you done a good amount of live shows like in the area already?
Yeah, I've done SOBs like 3 times.
Nice.
What else did I do? I did some stuff with the Day Summit. They're like a local, event spot. I've done a lot of shows. I've done all the high schools in Yonkers already. I've done the Yonkers Riverfest Library. The only place in my town I haven't done is the community center, and that's on the bucket list. That's definitely on the bucket list for sure. But I've done a lot of shows.
Yeah. What does like a future like tour for you look like? Like if you had to like map it out, if you're the headliner, like what spots would you want to go? Just all over the US or world, or what would you want to do?
I want to start with the South first, honestly. From like Florida all the way to Cali. Like that's how I want, like literally down that line, Florida to Cali. just hitting spots, just trying to get my name out there. Like I want to get a big bus and stuff like that.
I was gonna say that's probably, especially if you're in New York, that's probably like the untapped regions too. So you can kind of just move across and like hit those different markets as well. So that's definitely cool. And I think you're gonna get there, man. Like I envision that for you, for sure.
I appreciate that.
So that's awesome, man. So is there anything else that we can expect for 2023 that you can reveal besides the project, besides the shows? Is there anything else you're working on that we should know about?
I'm looking into doing merch and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm gonna do a K Anthony merch line or anything like that. I definitely have a single I want to drop in the near future. About like 2 months. Nice. So
nice, man.
Definitely want to get that done. So
I'll have to look out for the merch, especially. I'm intrigued by that. So last few questions here, and these are questions I ask on every episode. And the first one is, if you can go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
I would have listened to my old manager and went to Las Vegas and started my career. It's crazy that I say that now, is because as a kid, I really wouldn't have known that there was certain opportunities outside of New York. Mm-hmm. And I seen that with, not being there. So that's definitely something I would have done 10 years ago. I would have definitely started my career in Las Vegas. I would have definitely, tapped back in with New York, but I would have started it down there, to be honest.
I was going to say, if you do that tour, you'll probably end up hitting Vegas regardless. But yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Definitely hitting Vegas.
It'll eventually come full circle, I'm sure. But yeah, definitely interesting. And if we go, we flip it and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in your life and your career as well?
Out in New York, living in a nice house, nice condo or something, somewhere in Atlanta probably. Eating some chicken wings and recording. Eating chicken and recording,
Yeah.
Just honestly, just having a regular life, just a nice life, music involved, just in general. Even if I'm managing an artist or something like that, or songwriting. I want to be in the music business regardless of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Love so that. 10 years from now, I definitely want to be, even if I'm running behind an artist right now, like, hey, we got to go to the studio. Let's get to it. I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Just that whole thing.
The whole world, the whole music world, for real. So that's great to hear, man. Do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Be yourself. Don't let anybody change your mind on what you want to do. If they laugh at you, they're gonna laugh at you all the way to the bank. So be yourself.
Yeah,
that's man. All. Just be yourself, man.
No better words, man. That's honestly like a daily mantra. It has to be a daily mantra for everybody in some way. So definitely can appreciate that, man. And that's all I have for you today. Once again, man, I appreciate the time. I appreciate what you're doing. Keep it up, man. And I'm looking forward to the new music and everything you got coming up in the new year. And we'll have to do this again soon, for sure.
Oh, we definitely will. When I drop the tape, I'm definitely going to want to come back up.
Thanks, everyone, for listening today. That was episode 137. We'll be back at this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.